Okay, so
What are you doing?
we are picking up.
Ow.
Yeah. So we are picking up with Bjork. What's Bjork doing?
Steve.
You don't remember?
No.
He is getting together with his friend Seth, and they are mapping out the guards' routes, where the guards live, and he's getting a map made of the town. He did 1/8 of it, so he's got about another week to go at this pace if he keeps it up. But we'll see how that goes. So far, Seth hasn't gotten in touch with his buddies, his well, not buddies, but the people that he met when the guards that he met that arrested him and threw him in the jail. So the next day, Bjork goes out and he finds a new area of the city and he starts scouring around. He's making his map. He's keeping track of where the alleys are and where all the buildings are. And it's early, so there's not too much going on. A lot of people, if they woke up already, they have to go to work, and if they haven't woken up already, then they haven't left their house.
What if they woke up and they were still at their house?
Well, then they haven't left the house. Yeah. So.
What if they woke up, they didn't go to work, and they got something to eat? What was?
Then they're still at their house.
No, what was outside of their house? Like a restaurant.
So they're either in their house or they're out of their house. There is no other answer. One of those two is happening.
Okay.
I think you might be overthinking this.
They are on the border between their house.
They've transcended.
They're
So.
standing in the doorway.
Anywho, so he's walking around and he's mapping stuff out. And he's paying attention to who goes where and if anybody looks interesting. And he knows from watching the guards the other day that they tend to switch over at about 9 o'clock in the morning. So he's watching for any small groups of guards getting off their shift and looking to see where they go. So he's kind of hanging around the wall a little bit because he knows that's where their post is. So they stand guard on the wall. And so 9 o'clock comes. 9:30. And sure enough, a small group of 4 guards come out. Now one of them splits off. I guess he's not very good friends with the other. The other 3 walk down a couple blocks, and then one of them splits off. So now he's got 3 different groups of guards. And he really wants to follow all of them, but he can't. So he sticks with the bigger group. And he follows them down, and they end up going to a house. They walk inside. So what does he do? He sits there just like he did yesterday, and he stakes it out. And
Stakes me.
it means that he sits there and watches for a good long time. He's watching to see if anybody else comes in or out. He's trying to get any information on the people that live there.
So he's sorting out for interest.
Yes, he's stalking them.
Okay.
So he doesn't get anything from them. He stays there for a couple hours until it's lunchtime. And then he makes his way back to the church. Now at this point, the nuns are already setting out lunch. And so he goes in and he gives himself a quick bite to eat. Seth is there eating away, even though he hasn't really done much. Bjork is getting a little curious on what Seth is doing, and it feels like he might be taking a little advantage of him. But so
Did the person who's trying to get the map
Bjork,
did he do his sweeping?
he did not. He has to do that yet. So after lunch, that's exactly what he does.
Boom, boom.
He goes and gets a mop and he starts cleaning up. And he helps them with the dishes and he helps to clean up everything and make sure that they understand how grateful he is because he doesn't want to get any of the nuns mad at him. They've been very pleasant. And as he's mopping, he sees one of the guards from earlier. He sees him walk into the church. And he walks past and goes into the cathedral hall.
That's Matt.
What?
What's good?
The place where you pray.
Okay.
So anyhow, so he goes into the sanctuary and he lights a candle and he kneels down and he starts to pray. So when Bjork is mopping, he mops around, trying to stay close, see if he can hear what he's saying. One of the nuns walks by and Bjork nudges to her and says, what's with the officer? He seems really sad. And she says, oh, so his wife is very, very sick. And he comes here frequently to seek the God's assistance with making her better. There are treatments out there, but he can't afford them on his meager salary. He's a young guard. Oh, Bjork thinks about this and thanks her for her time. Goes back to mopping. By this time, Seth has gone out. He's trying to look for his friend. And after the mopping, Bjork goes out and keeps mapping the town to the best of his ability, keeping track of any weird little hidey holes, marking on the map places that might be good for hiding, places that might be good for stashing things, anything that seems unusual. Later on in the day, we're going to fast forward down to dinner time, and we get back to so Bjork and Seth are meeting at the church for dinner, and Bjork asks him, so have you gotten in contact with your guard friend? He said, as a matter of fact, I did. He is no longer my guard friend. He was fired. And he is now homeless, living in the shanty parts of the city.
Can't every homeless person just go to the church and do a job and stay there and get food?
No, that would be a lot of homeless people. So.
But like a couple?
So I found my friend, and he is now living in the shanties.
No.
And he is a
Like,
homeless guard. After he fell in love with one of the prisoners and decided to let her go. And he tried to make it seem like she escaped, but nobody believed it, although he still claims that she did. And there are some that do believe it, because they did not end up together. After she was freed, she ran away. You would think that if he freed her to be together, that they would still be together. And they're not. So, hey. So, Bjork says, well, he might not work there anymore, but I'm sure he remembers a lot. If I paid him, if I got him some food, do you think he'd meet with me? Seth says, well, I can ask him. We can meet with him tomorrow. Or I can ask him tomorrow and we can see if we can meet him. So they go out that night and they decide that they're going to go to one of the local hangouts. It's You okay, buddy?
What's happening?
I don't know, he's
going crazy.
kind of fussing. Just relax. So, they decide that they're going to go to one of the local hangouts and hang out.
That's what it's for.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a club that has some carnival implements to it, some fun and games. So they make their way over there. And there's a bit of a charge to get in, but Bjork has the available funds.
Once you're in, it's
Now,
free.
now Seth, he didn't have to pay. He knew the guy, and he gave him a nod. They've done favors for each other. He waves him in. Bjork looks back and says, "You know, I wish you would have told me that. It could have saved me a couple coin." He says, "Well, that's true." And then walks right past. So that's a little bit selfish. So they get in there. And one of the very first things they see is a very big clown.
Uh-oh.
He stabbed him. No.
Pulls out a knife and stabs him.
He is juggling swords.
Oh.
He grabs his sword and stabs him.
He has
That's what I was gonna say.
four swords that he's flipping around.
If
Grab
he-
2 of the swords.
Wait,
And
wait.
they are on fire.
If he accidentally
Wait, is the handle on
touches
fire?
the file,
No.
if he
How's
accidentally,
that thing on fire?
if he accidentally touches the file, or if he accidentally stabs himself, then he'll be killed.
But if it's not
I
on
think that's the point.
if the fire's not on the
I
handle,
think
where is it?
Die.
Okay, so they walk in and they see a clown, large clown, juggling 4 flaming swords.
Where's the flame on the sword?
So Bjork is very interested in this,
Sword pot.
and he rushes over and realizes that this large juggling clown is not a person.
Ah.
He is a troll, a big, smelly troll. But he's still in a clown costume. He still appears to work there. It seems like he's doing a pretty good job. So, the troll is doing his thing, and at one point, he looks over and starts talking to one of the guests that's watching them. He's got a decent little crowd at this point. And he forgets what he's doing a little bit, and he reaches up to grab one of the flaming swords, and grabs it a little bit too quick, and he grabs the blade, and it chops off his little finger.
Katie?
So
Katie?
Yeah.
Stop.
the troll yelps out, "Ah!" He drops all his swords. A loud clang to the ground. And then, so Bjork is stunned. The rest of the crowd is stunned. Now, Seth, he's seen this before.
Alive.
Seth's seen this before. He kind of giggles a little bit. And the troll picks up his finger and he says, "Well, I think I'm going to be done for now. But if you hang around, I'll be back tomorrow." So he grabs his swords, he grabs his finger, and he heads off.
What?
Bjork is standing there, very confused. What just happened? This very large, funny clown, he was juggling swords. Cut his finger off, he didn't seem too concerned.
He did it.
And Seth kind of nudges him and leans in and he says, "He's a troll, but tomorrow it'll grow back. You just have to give it some time." Trolls are remarkable for their healing properties.
They are?
It will halt for a little bit now.
They are. So,
Didn't he singe it? So,
No, he cut it.
and singed it like he grabbed a flaming blade.
So, they keep going on. And there's some more clowns doing clown things. But what really interests Bjork is a short little man with big ears doing magic tricks.
It's a lizard.
Hocus pocus.
He has a ball,
A lamb?
a clear ball,
Hocus pocus.
and he'll throw the ball up, and it'll shine brightly, and he'll catch it. It'll change colors. He can collapse his hands and make it disappear. Now, both of them are very excited about this. This is a treat. Neither one of them has seen this man before.
Become friends.
So, they stare, and they watch his show.
No.
Now, he's traveling around a little bit.
Don't love your foot?
Katie, you're being a brat. Cut it out. So, he's traveling around a little bit. He's not staying in any one place. And as he moves around to get an audience with other people.
Stop it, Joey.
Joey, you almost kicked her in the head.
Stop poking my.
No, not. I'll kick you in the head.
Stop poking
You cut
my
it out.
foot.
Are we done? We start assaulting people. We're done. So anywho, so they're following this little man around as he's throwing his multi-changing, disappearing ball all over the place. And occasionally he'll stop, do a little show, throw a little hat down on the ground. Hopefully people will give him money. And then he picks up his hat and moves along. Now the two of them are really trying to figure out how he is doing this trick. This is a fairly sizable ball, about the size of the man's head. It's clear.
But
They
is he
can't see any. What is he doing? Is that what you said? Did you not pay any attention to what I said?
He's throwing it up. It's changing colors. He catches it, and then he throws it up again. He claps his hands, and boom, disappeared.
You heard this, right? You didn't hear any of this. Okay. I'm gonna cut it short then, because you guys are kind of tired and you're not paying any
I
attention.
know.
Yeah, you're okay.
I paid attention.
Okay, you were trying to kick people.
They were
So-
poking me.
I
Oh, we
wasn't.
want to waste time arguing? Is that what we want to do? Thought we were telling a story. So, they are following this little man who is collecting money, trying to figure out what his secret is, and neither one of them, who are trained thieves, can figure out how he is able to make this ball disappear, how he can make it change colors, what's going on at all. So they follow him for most of the night, until he retreats back into a tent, which is just for the people that work there, and they are not able to follow him. They're blocked from going in. Employees only. And the two of them look at each other and they say, you know, I need to learn how he did that trick. So Bjork says this to Seth, and Seth looks back and says, I could very much use that trick in the future. We will come back tomorrow, and we will try and find out what we can learn about this.
Yeah.
On their way out,
Yeah.
Seth goes up to the person that let him in and says, so the little guy, the little guy with the tall hat that was throwing the ball, what's his name? And the guard says, oh, I don't really know who you're talking about. I'm not familiar with that guy at all. He's probably new. He came by today, maybe yesterday. There's a lot of people here, and I don't pay attention to all of them. I don't work for these guys. I work for the restaurant. I work for the club.
Wait,
So this is a whole other organization. They went to a club, honey. You should pay attention. You might have to watch the video again. You missed a lot. So he works for the club, and the performers work for a traveling group that just happens to be there also at the same time. So, knowing that they can't get too much more information out of anybody here, they decide, well, we are going to come back tomorrow and we're going to try and figure out what we can figure out. They make their way back to the church and they head to bed with plans to get up early, scout more of the town, and find out what they can about this tiny little maybe magician. And that is all for tonight.
Goodbye.
Good night.